Doc, I see you got your Miami Vice on. I see you, Doc.
What's up, Clock 8?
Dr. Gregory Bell, Mark Clark. It is the Play Space podcast. And for those who know me, Doc, you don't really know this about me. I'm a huge Kanye West fan.
Oh, yeah.
And Kanye has been through his trials and tribulations, and he's going through them right now. As we speak, are saying that him and his lovely wife are going through their divorce, and apparently he ain't talking to her. But what I wanted to hop on, and Kanye has been on an interesting path, and I think Kanye West is a amazing case study on what it takes, and sometimes what brilliance is, and also sometimes the intersection of brilliance and mental health issues. You know, it's almost like, you know, it's so it's kind of like we're watching it play itself out in real time, right? And so, Doc, what I'm going to do, I know you don't necessarily know all the ins and outs of Kanye West. That's not your thing. But what I want your expertise in, Doc, is I'm going to play you a sample from an interview that happened a few years ago. And after the interview, a lot of stuff happened. And to be honest, a lot of the stuff that Kanye West was talking about actually came true, right? And I would just want to, you know, we'll start there. And then, so first of all, let me just say for people who don't know necessarily. So Kanye West is now, they're reporting the richest Black person in America at $6.6 billion. And now there's, you know, Bloomberg reported it. Forbes is disputing it. But at the end of the day, this is an amazing thing for a man who's not even 50 years old, a Black man, to make this happen. And it's been, to me, the media has handled this, in my opinion, kind of weird in that they almost downplayed it, because just last week they were reporting Jay-Z, you know, was worth $1.4 billion, right? But then Kanye worth $6 billion. He has leapfrogged Oprah. He's leapfrogged everybody. Yeah. And now they finally, so it was interesting. They finally released it, and then Forbes now is challenging it. So, you know, the media does what it does. And I think because Kanye has had so many controversial headlines, and many, you know, say mental health, many say Kanye's crazy, many say whatever. But at the end of the day, I think what they really are underreporting is this is truly amazing for somebody who started off in one box of music and then spread himself into another in fashion. And then even those who complain about, you know, his Yeezy prices and his tennis shoe prices being so exorbitant, the big thing on this next is he has his own brand at Gap, and he will now be able to provide designer level clothing at regular prices, which that is revolutionary. And that is something that he said he wanted to do. And I don't think it really gets any even bigger than that, because when he grew up, Doc, guess where he worked? At the Gap.
Wow.
And so
incredible.
He fantasized. He said he didn't even know the name brands yet. It started with the Gap, right? And so here was an interview. He was on a show called Sway in the Morning, probably about 5 years ago. And this exchange happened because Kanye West, who had this fire in his soul that he wanted to get out, and the host was trying to tell him, hey, man, you know, he basically felt like Kanye West basically felt like, dude, you can't tell me about this thing because you have no idea. And so this is the exchange, Doc, and I'm curious to get your take. Again, sure. Way in the Morning, Kanye West, a few years ago, before all this blew up.
I got some more ideas that don't involve shoes. But if you guys are investing in the arts, y'all want to invest in this school in Brazil, y'all want to go to Africa, I'm standing up and I'm telling you, I am Warhol. I am the #1 most impactful artist of our generation. I am Shakespeare in the flesh. Walt Disney, Nike, Google. Now, who's going to be the Medici family and stand up and let me create more? Or do you want to marginalize me till I'm out of my moment?
Or why don't you empower yourself and don't need them and do it yourself?
How, Sway?
Take a few steps back to go.
You ain't got the answers, man. You ain't got the answers.
Kanye.
You ain't got the answers. You ain't got the answers, Sway.
Kanye.
I've been doing this more than you.
Doing what
you
more
ain't
than
got
me? Come on, chill out.
You
bro.
ain't got the answers.
Kanye,
You ain't got the answers.
I'm asking you.
You
a
ain't been
question.
doing the education.
Bro.
You ain't been doing the education.
Kanye, calm down.
You don't have the answers though.
Calm down.
Because you trying to give me advice about something. You ain't got the answer. You ain't spent $13 million of your own money trying to empower yourself.
Yes, but I spent hundreds of thousands and putting out clothing lines at a smaller degree.
Okay. So then you cut to 5 years later. So Doc, right after this, Kanye West was saying, because a lot of people didn't realize, his mother was an educator. And so when he right out of high school instead of going to college, he went to Japan and he studied art, and he also, studied art in Europe. And so he had years of studying this thing, and he was basically saying, and he then spent that money to learn design, and the designers, the big companies, they were not letting him in. And of course, Doc, they ain't gonna let you in, because if they let you in, they know what's gonna happen. And so he shook the cage so hard that ironically, they didn't let him in, but they let one of his former designers in at Louis Vuitton. And so because of his kind of outrageous thing, it opened the doors for some other Black designers, and then it led to his deal with Adidas. And so that's what happened. He got a deal with Adidas, and from that deal with Adidas, he now has a deal with Gap, and so on and so forth. He's the sole owner of his fashion brand. He's the only person in history who's ever had a deal with a tennis shoe line where he gets percentages of shoes sold. He gets a point he gets points, and again, now he's the richest Black person in America. So your thoughts, Doc?
So thank you, Mark. I think that what we're looking at is the opportunity to do something that no other person has done before, which is to be in the conversation about the highest African-American male at $6.6 billion. We didn't say a million. We said 6.6 billion. So part of this discussion really has the more to do with how does one define three things. Are you defining me based on me being successful? Is he being defined as someone who is happy? Or is he being defined as someone who is looking for encouragement, to be encouraged, to take it to a level that no one else has ever taken it to? If you listen to the exchange, part of the discussion between two brothers was about an economic development, personal and professional growth opportunity that really took it to a no direction that we really would have thought. It appeared to be like it was highly emotional 5 years ago, saying that you have not done your homework. You have not done the education. So when we think about play space, this is really about how does one look at their self-esteem and their self-concept in terms of how do you define you? And I can relate to Kanye West in terms of where he's coming from. In other words, when you disclose your plan, see, as an athlete, you have what they call a scouting report. In business, you have a business plan, but you also have what they call perspectives in terms of where has the business been? What have you done? Where are you now? And where do you want to go to take it to another dimension, to another level? But the piece that he's talking about is what are the strategic steps, the small steps that Kanye must take now in order for it to be able to be in a different market. But they kept using the pronoun they. They have not allowed they. Well, I would like to suggest that when you as a business person are thinking with your creativity, there are a couple of factors that come to play. You have to have a goal that you set forth. And then if you're talking about business, there must be an objective. And part of that objective is based on a plan. See, a written plan, putting it in writing. You can verbalize it, but at some point in time, you need to put it on paper, because the paper that you write on or that you type on, that written plan is not going to change, but it can be flexible and changeable and adjustable. And as a person and as a professional, what I hear Kanye saying is that he has to make adjustments on a personal as well as professional level in the business world. And then he can begin to look at those results and find out what worked and what didn't work. He's a $6.6 billion. And the argument about whether or not who's first and who's leading and whether it's true or not, whether he's surpassed Jay-Z, we're not getting into that, because the bottom line is that it doesn't make a difference about how much they make. It's about the contribution that they're making based on the vision that they have. And lastly, you must have options. When you look at the word they said to me that I was legally blind at 8. And what they, who I was raised by, my two parents, said, Greg, you can be, you can achieve, and you can do anything that you want. So for you, and thinking about the whole process about Kanye, when you begin to think about that, it is about his passion, his purpose, his dream, his vision in terms of the destination that he's trying to do. And Kanye, you do the thing, man, because there's a candy called Now and Later. And some people may have the banana, some may have the strawberry, some may have the lemon, some may have the chocolate. But I'm going to tell you, mine's is candy apple. You do you, Kanye, because the bottom line, people are going to run their mouth, my brother, while you run your business. Do what you do. We're loving what you do. And the label of mental health is just like anything else. You have social being, you have physical being, you have the emotional being, and you have the cognitive being. And whatever being we're in, when you need help, Kanye, reach out for that help, because help is available.
That's what you do. That's what you do, Doc. I see you, Doc. That's what you do, Doc.
Do what we do, man.
Do play space, baby.
But you got to play. We got to have play. But the play is really about mind, time, and dime. Let him do his thing.
That is Dr. Gregory Bell. I am Mark Clark. This is Play Space. Tell your friends about us. Share the podcast. Follow the podcast. Check us out. Again, YouTube, The Play Space. We've got a lot of fun in store for spring and summer. Doc's got a lot of clothes to put on. This brother's dressing.
Springtime, man.
Looking forward to coming to you live.
All the way live.
You know what I'm saying? And when this thing breaks with COVID, and also always looking for sponsors. So again, check us out. And again, you can see we got our websites up there. You can reach out there and do that. Play Space. Have a great one. We'll see you until next time.